And we are live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And this is a topic that a lot of people joke about. A lot of people, have old memes and all types of other stuff. Okay, you know, um, and people always question Ortiz's age, and because of his look, definitely, and the time frame that he was in the amateurs, you know. And what do we have? Sons of England, 75 years old. Wow. Kamal Oz. How old is Alexander Povetkin? Pedvetkin. Wow. Very good counterpunch. Because Povetkin is on up there too. You guys, when you come on, hit the like button. I know a lot of people are not getting the notifications for this particular live chat. That's why I kind of let it load for a while to let people get it if it's gonna be received by YouTube. But I think YouTube is on an overload in their servers, so they can't accompany everyone but the people that hit the like button. It helps them. Anyway, back to the comments. Vic 51 be my guest. 51 years old. 51. Ortiz so old owes Moses money in getting him out of Egypt. Down. Ashley Poley, 25 and three quarter. Louise Tez is 10,000 years old. Dylan White. Corky. Probably mid to late 40s. Well, okay. All right. Um, Many Cuban baseball players are widely known to fabricate documents and lie about their age in order to get better contracts. Yeah, well, not just Cubans, Dominicans too. What comes to mind is Danny Almonte. Danny Almonte did the same shit. You know, um, I mean, he was a hell of a player though. But he did falsify documents in order to, look more prestigious and look more marketable in the leagues. In the major leagues or whatnot. Rick Glacier said that he was at least 48 a couple years ago. DTW, what's up, guys? It's Kurt. Okay, it's Kurt. All right. Yeah, that's me. Andreas Martin. Counterpunch to you, sir. CP. To you. Jay Smith. What's up, brother? Counterpunch. The DTW. Counterpunch to you. Sydney Swaney. Ortiz was extra in It's a Wonderful Life. Wow. Jimmy Stewart. They said it on Joe Rogan. I'm your biggest fan in Ghana, West Africa. Sydney Swansea. Counterpunch to you. Thank you for the support. Guys, hit the like button. We got 19 on the chat. Let's get 19 likes. Let's see. How old is Frank Sanchez? That's another question. I just did a video on Frank Sanchez. He looks a little older too. Not really. I don't know what he's been doing lately. I think that Frank didn't look old to me. He looked young when I saw him, and when I saw him was early last year. So like about a year and a half ago, he looked around late 20s. I don't know, but maybe he has some kind of skin condition or something like that. Because I think that's some type of I don't know, some type of skin condition that he has, because that's probably why his skin looks the way it looks. You know, Rumor has it Ortiz was born and raised in Viking and invented the axe. Ortiz doesn't have a birth certificate. Dave Allen said that Ortiz smelled like an old man. Damn. Did Dave Allen say that now? Wow. Luis Ortiz survived the Spanish flu. Man, y'all terrible. Y'all terrible, man. You know. Um, 31, 2, and 26. Okay. Ortiz is listed. No, no, he's 41 now. Because if his birthday is March 29th, 1979 on his that's what his birth date is stated, right? Um, they didn't make birth certificates when Ortiz was born. Yeah, psoriasis. That's right, psoriasis. It looks like Frank Sanchez has a case of that. Has a little case of that. Has a case of that. 41,000 years. I doubt Dave Allen said that. That's crazy. Amir Khan on Agent Broner. Let's see. With a birth certificate of. But many have questioned his age and becomes a subject. Okay, sure. Okay. All right. Well, he was on the Cuban national team from 2002 to 2008. Huh. 2002 was a very long time ago. 2008. Shit. 12 years ago. I think Ortiz, jokes aside, Ortiz is a problem for anyone apart from Fury and Wilder. Well, you know, Saul, that's what we're trying to figure out. You know, um, his age. People talk about his age. People talk about, a lot of things that, they joke about Ortiz and stuff like that. And one thing Wilder hides behind, but, nobody can really dispute because when you have no one's fought him, and that's a fact, but does that mean nobody wants to fight him? That's the difference. Mr. Landlord, I think Ortiz was at his best 6 years ago, in my opinion. I would give him about 4 years ago, Mr. Landlord. I think about 15 and 16 was probably his best. He could probably, I think if he was going to beat these guys, it would be at that time. You know what I mean? But the problem was, he couldn't fight Joshua. Shit, Joshua just started. Joshua been fighting, what, a year, 2 years at that point? Wilder could have fought him, but he chose not to because he labeled him as a cheat. So he didn't want to fight him then, but I think it was more to it than that. There's a reason that, see, here's the thing about Ortiz, I feel. The way Deontay Wilder describes Ortiz, and he says this narrative about him, and he says nobody wants to fight him, I think he was actually talking about himself. Let me explain. I think Deontay Wilder was talking about himself in past tense, if that makes sense. Meaning, it wasn't because nobody wants to fight him. I think that people can't fight him to cover your name. That ban may be released because Ortiz, if he starts fighting these other guys and stuff, that means he's allowed to fight these other guys. But I think what Wilder is saying about Luis Ortiz, well, y'all call that man old, beat that old man's ass. Well, nobody wants to fight him. Maybe I think he didn't want to fight him back in the day. You know what I mean? Because first you went from I don't want to fight this dude because he's a cheat to now I'm fighting this dude. You know? But anyway, I think he was talking about himself, honestly. We have a new confirmed case of people turning down the Ortiz fight. Yes, we do, Scance Rants. And believe it or not, you see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like people they counterpunch, they ridicule Deontay Wilder, but at the end of the day, the man has an argument. Why? Because nobody's fought him. Let me give you a perfect example. Um, who did it back in late 18? Joe Joyce, right? Joe Joyce did that. Joe Joyce called out Luis Ortiz, and then Abel Sanchez, who was training Joe Joyce at the time, was like, no, he's not ready for Ortiz. And Ortiz told him, I'll fight you, but it'll be your first loss. You know what I mean? And Abel Sanchez was like, no. So I guess Joe Joyce was like, okay, okay, right? You know what I mean? I still would have wanted that fight. I would have vouched for that fight if you say you want a fighter. He wanted Jarrell Miller. So that should tell you something. Okay, you wanted to fight Luis Ortiz. Your trainer talked you out of fighting Luis Ortiz, but you can fight Jarrell Miller. But to be fair, Jarrell Miller punked out. But what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is, you would want to fight Jarrell Miller over Ortiz. That should tell you something. You know what I mean? Wilder needed someone to fight so he wouldn't be able to fight AJ. That's true. You know, if you can't fight the guy, you give somebody else, you give that next replacement. He did that with Fury too, Brittany, to be fair. He did that with Fury, Tyson. He picked Tyson Fury to pick because he needed somebody with a name. And that shit backfired on him, sad to say. The shit backfired. It sure did. Big man George Foreman fought with one foot in the grave. Nah, he didn't fight with one foot in the grave. The fact of the matter is, George Foreman was just a dangerous guy throughout his career. He was just always a dangerous guy. If he hits you, he could hurt you. Klitschko ducked Ortiz. When did he duck Ortiz? You talking about for the WBA, right? Well, what that was, Scance Rants, I remember that. I think what it was, they offered Ortiz step aside money so he could fight Anthony Joshua. And what happened, Ortiz turned that shit down. And this is what Ortiz said. I do remember that. I do remember that. And that's how I knew Ortiz, this dude here is kind of vicious because he said, no, your money's no good here. I don't want your money. I want you. Okay, and that's what he did. But this is what happened with the WBA. He got fucking popped. He got popped because something happened with the rankings, and he was taken out of the rankings. Or was that before? No, that was before. Um, I forget what happened because it was something with the mandatories that I think another belt sanctioning body had the dibs on that because it was up first. And then that's why when Joshua beat Klitschko, he was supposed to fight Pulev, but Pulev got hurt. So he ended up fighting Takam. That's what that was. Yeah. But it was something with the WBA with the rankings, and they messed over what's call it pretty good. But that I think that was later on. No, that was in late 17. So they stripped him from the WBA rankings when that drug test came up with the blood pressure medicine. And then what ended up happening, he ended up, yeah, Oliver McCall is crying. Yeah, that was weird. That was a strange night of boxing, then I tell you, or non-boxing. But the WBA wasn't forgiven. They kept him off the ranking, so he couldn't establish that number one where he was entitled to. So it was kind of shitty. But of course Deontay Wilder fought him, so it looked like Deontay helped him out or whatever. But it was only for Luis Ortiz to get in a fight that he wasn't going to win unless he knocked Deontay's head off into the fourth or fifth row. Okay, that was the only way that he was going to win that fight because all the cards were against him. You know, he wanted to fight Klitschko because he was juiced up. He was confident he could beat him on his pads. Just a baby. He's not ready, is what. Well, well, yeah, we know that. We know that. See, let's put it this way: Wilder used Shelly Finkel to duck Vladimir. I think these guys have their own mind. Jerome Benjamin, shouts out to you, brother. Counterpunch. Scans Ranch, Triple D, and Joe Joyce, pro novices. Ortiz was just a top 10 guy in my opinion. Klitschko levels Ortiz. Typical Wilder fanboy that says. Ortiz is 67 next Friday. Oh man. Ortiz went over Jennings was shocking after Vlad struggled to do anything with Bryant. Saul West, that is a good point though. I mean, he stopped Brian Jennings. I mean, but here's the thing about Brian Jennings. Brian Jennings is a tough Philly fighter. Even when you stop him, you don't stop him. You know what I'm saying? Like when that fight, he was on his feet and he was like, ah, because he knew they were going to stop it. You know what I mean? Klitschko, he was booed. It stunk the place out with that performance, and that was the problem that hurt the Klitschko's. Okay, I'm gonna actually do a video about the Klitschko's. Ortiz was winning the fight before stopping Jennings, unlike Rivas. Now that is true. Rivas was, because, I think Rivas is tough, but sometimes I think he's too tough for his own good. I think that, he wants to show how tough he is, but while doing so, he's taking unnecessary shots. You know what I mean? That's how Dillian White was able to outpoint him. He just, kept the jab in his face, kept turning him, and Rivas just kept coming to show how strong he is. But it's not about showing how strong, or should I say, how tough you are. It's about actually putting punches together to take this guy out. Now, when Rivas did punch, he would have an effect on Dillian White. In fact, I'm gonna watch that fight tonight. That's gonna be a fight I want to watch. Dillian White versus Ortiz. I mean, so no, sorry. Dillian White versus Rivas. I wish. All right. Ortiz quit against Wilder in the rematch. He did. When did he quit against Wilder? He did. I don't recall that. I recall a damn people were complaining that the count was fast. Now ain't that ironic? You know. Yeah, I'm with Scance Rants. That's not true. He did not quit. I did not see Ortiz quit at any point. I know he got the shit knocked out of him. You know, you know what I mean. But no, I mean, I just think now I think he could have continued. You know what I mean? I think he could have continued because remember that was the last of that round. This what look that wasn't a fucking knockout like a Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez Manny Pacquiao knockout. Okay, it wasn't that type of knockout. That Pac-Man Ricky Hatton knockout. It wasn't like that. Okay, that Amir Khan. You know what I mean? It wasn't that type of knockout. Okay, it was he got hit with a blow and he struggled to get up and he got up and he just barely missed the count. That's what that shit was. Oh, but he got floored. Oh, he was on his back. Okay, so yeah, if Luis Ortiz was white, would you question his age, Kurt? Well, the question is, I'm not questioning his age. I never, if you know notice me about Luis Ortiz, I barely ever talk about his age. Other people do, and since other people do, that's why we're talking about this now. Okay, but if he was white, no, I mean, I don't think that I would be talking about it anyway. Unless he just looked hella old. Luis Ortiz, to me, honestly, me thinking about Ortiz, I think he's a skilled Cuban fighter, a very aggressive, dangerous fighter. I think that if you fight him, and a lot of people don't fight him because it's not, they don't get the reward, fighting him, and then they might lose. That's my honest opinion. See, Fight Fan 30, Ortiz is 50 years old. He's 67. He's 76. He's 10,000 years old. He smells old, right? So you hear all this stuff, right? You hear all this stuff. Who wins, Ortiz or coronavirus? Wow. Well, because Cubans are known to do that. They're known to falsify records. Ortiz is, if he looks mid 40s, okay, well, shit, he's not off by too much. He might have added 5 years to his actual age. He might have been born in 73, you know what I'm saying, instead of 79. You know what I mean? But, I mean, it's not that far off the rocker. Now, all the jokes have classic over the time, you know. So it is what it is. Okay, in his own words, he's 50. When did he say that? Fight Fan 30. Ortiz popped for high blood pressure medication. Yeah, he was. He was popped for high blood pressure medication when they were trying to finalize the fight for him to fight Deontay Wilder. See, that fight was a go until that drug test came back because he failed to tell them that he was on high blood pressure medication. Okay, and it's a drug in the medication that is banned. Okay, but it's only banned if you don't report it, and he didn't report it. Maybe he didn't want people to know that he was on high blood pressure medication. I don't know why? But then the question you ask yourself is, how long was he on the medication? You know what I mean? So people inflate Ortiz's age because White is currently on a seniors tour and nobody wants to talk about it. Ooh, whoa. Here we go. See, that's something people don't talk about though, because that's a very good point. You know, to call it up the middle, you do have Povetkin. Let's see. Hold on, let's see. Um, let's see here. How old is Alexander Povetkin?
40 years old.
He's 40 years old. Now check this out. He's 40 years old, September 2nd, 1979. Ortiz's build, you know, he's 40 years old too. He's 41 because his birthday is in March, right? So they're in the same age. These are 40-year-old guys. Okay, Google, how old is Dillian White?
32 years old.
See, he has 8 years difference, okay? 8 years is a lot, okay? Now, imagine me 8 years ago. I was 32. I'm these guys' age, right? I'm a hell. I'm younger than Ortiz, but older. No, I'm younger than both of them. but but seriously, these guys, man, they are, you know, to fight Dillian White and for Dillian White to want Povetkin and to hype up Povetkin like that, you know, and then not fight Ortiz. You can't talk. See, and what's bad though, I feel. I'm 70. Yeah, I'm 70. That's it. I'm 70 years old. you know. Yeah, I know. I'm old, right? You know. But these guys, yeah, I'm in that bracket. So, you know, 35 to 45. So you're looking at these guys fighting. These guys are, you know, around the same age. Dillian White is a hell of a lot younger than all of them. You know what I mean? What you should see is, if you wanted to make that shit fair, you should see Ortiz fighting Povetkin. That's that in a perfect world. That's the fight you should want to see because that's a fair fight. I don't give a shit if Ortiz is 45. Is the 45 is a lot closer than 40, and fucking 40 is 32. You know, he's a good dude. Give him a chance. You might like them. Like him. Okay. Like who? Looks like he could be Yoel Romero's father. And get this, Romero is older than Ortiz. Okay, Google, how old is Yoel Romero?
42 Yoel Romero old. Is 42 years
See,
old.
he's 42, but, you know, ripped. You know, that's that black don't crack type of shit. You know what I mean? You wouldn't think he's 42. You know what I mean? He's cut the hell up. So it is what it is. You know what would be embarrassing though? And I think at the point all the jokes and all the you know the shit talk they talk about Luis Ortiz, you know what would be sad? What's up, Loke? Counterpunch to you, brother. Um, what would be sad if Luis Ortiz beat those guys? I mean, how could you live that down? You got with a guy that's been rumored to be 50, 70 years old and you got your ass beat by him, you know? AJ would beat Ortiz and Wilder on the same night. Don't know about that one, but I always wanted to see Ortiz and JJ just to see how AJ would deal with a southpaw like that. Because see, Ortiz is an aggressive southpaw. You know what I mean? He doesn't have much head movement, and he would probably get hit with jabs and right hands. That right hand would come, but then again, so would the left. Because one thing about Ortiz, he's good at distance. He's good at timing. Okay, timing beats speed. Okay, so if AJ's a little better, a little quicker, which I think he is, he's a little quicker than Ortiz. Just like Deontay Wilder was. He was still able to adjust the distance enough to get it off. You know, Ortiz isn't an aggressive inside fighter with fast hands. No, but he does like to work the body, and he does have a dangerous uppercut. So you got to remember that's the punch that he put Brian Jennings down with, because Brian Jennings was trying to get inside and do that Philly roughhouse shit, fight with stick stones in the streets of Philly. He was trying to do that shit, and then Ortiz called him, boom, he was down, he was done, son. Okay, damn, I almost missed this watching Jim Scantrans. Ortiz is 46 years old at least and must be kicking himself that he didn't push Wonders back. Kirk and Ortiz look the same age. Damn. Okay. Ruiz versus Ortiz. Who you got? I don't know, Loke, but I'll tell you this. Andy Ruiz, another motherfucker. Okay, Google. How old is Andy Ruiz? No, he's 30. I already know
Andy
that.
Ruiz is 30 years old.
So it's like you're looking at this and you got these guys because he didn't want to fight. He mentions Ortiz's name, but Ortiz was like, okay, let's do it. No, not right now. You know what I mean? So it just like, dude, y'all, and people joke about that fucking age. Fight this fucking guy already, please. You know, hands of stone, 52 years old. Ortiz has a higher KO percentage than Dillian White. I really want to see that. That's like probably the top fight I would want to see Ortiz and Dillian White. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to see these top fighters. I want to see what everyone else does because I mean, it's not all about the top fighters. It's about all fighters. You know what I mean? All fighters should get recognition because all fighters put their life on the line, people. You know, we have to remember that. If this is a casino, it's not about the high rollers, it's about everyone else that plays the slots. Okay? So, you know, Ortiz versus Joseph Parker would be good. I would like to see that. See, those are fights I want to see. Joseph Parker, Ortiz, Andy Ruiz, Dillian White. You know what I mean? Let's cross this shit up. You guys remember back when Top Rank had his series of fighters like let's go in the welterweight division, and they had Manny Pacquiao, Timothy Bradley, Brandon Rios. Who did Brandon Rios fight 3 times? What was his name out of was he out of Arizona or New Mexico or something like that? I can't remember his name. Mexican guy, Chicano guy. I forget his name, but you had him. Alvarado. Thank you, Jedi Master. Counterpunch to you, Mike Alvarado. Mild High Alvarado. That's right. And it was like you had those guys. You had Ruslan Provandakov. So you had about 5 fighters that it was in that stable, and you looked at all these motherfuckers fought all each other a lot of times. Juan Manuel Marquez, another one, right? So you had a fighter. You had these fights that were just over and over again. Marquez fought Pacquiao 4 times. Pacquiao fought Bradley 3 times. Bradley fought Marquez, beat Marquez, fair enough. Pacquiao fought Brandon Rios. Brandon Rios fought Mike Alvarado 3 freaking times. You know? And then things didn't really get interesting until Brandon Rios went over on the other side. And then but by that time, honestly, Brandon Rios wasn't really, I think his momentum was just on the downcline. But to be fair, I don't think that he was going to do well anyway. You know what I mean? I don't think that he was going to be that. Because I looked at his skill. His skill wasn't, you know, no. Jesus Chavez was another fighter they had. Remember him? The Argentinian fighter. He was a pretty good fighter. He drawed with Bradley back in the day. They both busted each other up pretty good, you know. Well, Scance Rants is like this. AJ's favored to beat Wilder now. But then ask yourself this question. Last year, after June, was he favored to beat Deontay Wilder? No. So that's how people look at it. You can't, a lot of people, they go and it's what you've done lately. I heard Ortiz was Lennox Lewis's camp for sparring, and then that's the truth. Oh God, here we go. Yeah, his ass was still in Cuba then. Ricky Torre, another family member, claimed to lose a large amount of jewelry in London too. What the hell was that about? AJ holds no physical dimensions over Wilder like Fury. AJ slightly shorter than Brazil, which will be easier for Wilder to control distance. Well, I think all those guys are. Tyson Fury's taller than all of them, but all those guys are pretty tall. When you get past 6'5", you're pretty tall. You know what I mean? Um, Early stoppage, to be fair, Ortiz said he never received the contract, and you know what? And he never seen the contract. So if that's the case, you should ask yourself what type of sabotage was going on with Luis Ortiz and his team. What type of communication did they have? You mean to tell me a promoter sent me or sent my people a contract for $7 million and I didn't even see the fucking thing? That's what the word around the campfire was. That was according to Herman Calcedo and Luis Ortiz. They said we didn't see shit. We've been in the gym. See, they were in the gym, okay? That stuff don't print out at the gym. That shit ain't coming to the gym. It ain't no office in the gym where they were. This ain't the old school shits. You know what I mean? That came to Ortiz's management. Ortiz sparred Muhammad Ali in his prime. Oh God, Ortiz is 57. Back in 2012, Wilder said he would never lose to a shorter man than him. Well, he didn't, because Tyson Fury's taller. Hell, what can you say? Scance Rants, 100 million offer. Yeah, Jerome Benjamin, things happen everywhere. Povetkin has a better resume, but currently he has not. He is not a better fighter than Ortiz. Ortiz looked good in this last fight. People said he didn't look good. He looked good. He was just fighting a guy that you have to watch out for one fucking thing. That quick ass right, and he'll throw it at times. So Wilder spreads his legs apart. Then he might paw. But every so often, boom, he'll catch you. You know, Somebody didn't want Ortiz to fight AJ. If AJ had beat somebody that Wilder beat, then it would have increased his credibility in the U.S. Counterpunch to you. That's a good point. That's what I'm saying. You mean to tell me that someone sent my management $7 million and I didn't know nothing about it? How are these motherfuckers still my management? If I'm Ortiz, I would have fired each and every one of them motherfuckers. Every one of them would have been fired. I'd be like, you know what? You guys are all fired. I'm firing all of you. You know, you don't do that's life changing money. You don't do shit like that. That's not a misdemeanor. That's a felony without the possibility of life in prison without the possibility of parole type of shit. You don't do that. Let's just be real. Well, I mean, 100 million. No, it won't be anything 100 million. But to be fair, just Wilder just proved he's not $100 million guy. He does, he's not that type of dude. People define who they are. He didn't want the money because I don't think you can't miss something. You know what I mean? I'm not trusting anybody who offered me a flat fee equivalent to 12.5 on $100 million fight, even if they offered me $100 million deal. Well, I tell you, they offered him that in 2018. Okay. And this was like April, May, I think, of 2018. Okay. They offered him a year later $100 million. Now, I don't know if the fight would have been $100 million. You know what I mean? I don't know if it would have been $100 million fight, but I can tell you this. I honestly think they offered him too much. Let's just be real. I honestly think they offered Deontay Wilder too much money. I wouldn't have gave him that type of money. I would have gave him 20 million. I'd have offered him $20 million. We'll give you 7 million to fight Dominic Brazil on the zone and offer you $20 million for the AJ fight. 20 to 25. I would go as high as 25. I wouldn't even because see what happened since he turned it down. They were like, okay, we got $100 million credit possibility because people know what I'm worth because people offered me that amount. You see how that works? So it's like he could always say I'm $100 million, but this fucker lost. He lost, so it's bad. Now, what you could do though, you could look at Manny Pacquiao, right? Floyd offered, oh, that's a big shit show. That was a lot of negotiation back in that day. But anyway, Floyd offered him $40 million. He said he was going to wire him 20 million, before the fight, and then give him 20 million directly after the fight's over. Right? And he turned it down, but with no revenue. So Floyd, $40 million ain't peanuts, but then it's like, but you got to look. This is a pay-per-view platform, so you don't even offer this guy that amount of money. But then I think Floyd was just being Floyd. Floyd was hoping Manny would take that money because he wanted Manny to succumb to that amount because he wanted to see himself towering over Manny so much. He needed Manny to make that $300 million. People, don't get it twisted. If it wasn't for Manny Pacquiao, Floyd wouldn't be who Floyd is. Floyd wouldn't have the type of money that he has, that he made. He wouldn't be that guy. He needed Manny Pacquiao, and he fucking knew it. But what also he fucking knew is or was, he didn't need him no more after he made that money. Yeah, I'm falling for the bullshit. I'm not doing this anymore. Why would you? You got $300 million. You don't have to fight Manny no more. You know. I want to see Wilder versus David Price. Good fight. You know, Wilder. I just hope Wilder stays fighting. You know what I mean? Win, lose, or draw. Because I have so many damn videos. I'm not gonna do them all at one time. I just have too many. You know, that I'm gonna do a little bit tomorrow, and then a little bit, Friday, because it's just not, you know, I have too many to do about this guy to counterpunch this, because he just popped back on the scene talking shit about Fury. Not, hey, I'm doing good. Hey, I hope my you know my people are good. I hope everybody's doing well. He just went right in on Tyson Fury. I don't know why you would say that. Why you would say I wouldn't take it. That's disrespectful. Wilder is a protected fighter. Wilder has a weak chin. Look, a lot of these fighters, it's a heavyweight division, bro. You get hit with a punch. Don't matter how strong your chin is. The only one that I see that has a fucking sturdy chin would be no neck having ass Andy Ruiz. Everybody else will probably get knocked out. And think about it. Well, that is true, Vic. You know what I mean? They didn't even reply to the 60-40 split because that was what Lennox Lewis was bitching about. But people, Lennox Lewis is a big fucking hypocrite when it came to that negotiation. I'm gonna tell you why. He was in the same situation when he fought Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield was the A-side fighter. He was the dominant fighter. That's the guy that dethroned Mike Tyson. Okay, that went to war with Riddick Bowe, Michael Moore, many others. Okay, he had the lion's share. He had the lion's share of the money, and they offered Lennox Lewis $10 million, and guess what the motherfucker did? Took it. Now this is Lennox Lewis. Now this ain't fucking Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder ain't earned enough of that. Adam Crom, counterpunch to you, brother. He ain't even earned that reputation. The dude made $2 million since the last fight in. You know what I mean? And then you want to bitch about slave wages, dude. You made $2 million. What, 2.1? Let's just be real, man. In comparison to what you're worth, see, people don't get. It's not about who wants to fight. It's about shit that makes sense. You know what I mean? Wilder, Wilder made $2 million. That was his highest purse ever in 2018. What warrant him to make so high of an increase of money? That's what I want to know. He ain't fought nobody. This is before Tyson Fury, and he never beat him. So again, like, what warrants that? Dominic Brazil? What warrants that? That's why I said they honestly gave this motherfucker too much money. They offered him too much money. I would have never offered him $100 million. Now he's walking around like his shit don't stink because he knows I turned it down because I bet on myself. Thank you, but no thanks. I just wanted to let you know I was better than 12.5 to this day. And I bet you John Skipper was like, oh, fuck. This moron. Fucking nincompoop. Lewis got 33% against Joe in the first fight. Meanwhile, AJ's first offer to Wilder was equivalent to 12.5%. Well, look. It was still $10 million, bro. Hold on. Let me look this up. Because I do remember that. But Lennox Lewis took the money. But understand, Lennox Lewis took the money, and Lennox Lewis was Lennox Lewis. No, he wasn't the dominant fighter, just like Deontay wasn't. Wilder ain't the A-side fighter in Anthony Joshua negotiations. He's not. He doesn't sell. He doesn't sell enough. He doesn't sell as much. He doesn't make the money that Anthony Joshua makes. It's like a fucking watermelon to a grape. Okay? Now, you can be a Wilder fan, but you just got to admit, like, dude, take the money and knock this dude out. Then you'll get more money. Don't stop having such a fucking big ego when you ain't had a big ego your whole fucking career. Like, let's make this shit make sense about Wilder. Y'all be talking about, oh man, he's supposed to got more money. When they offered him, he didn't take it. So what difference does it make at this point? Don't matter no way. The motherfucker didn't take it. He let his dumbass management talk him out of that shit because they had ties with PBC and Fox, and they know they can't ride without PBC and Fox because if they would have took that deal, they would have been out of a job because Al Heyman knew all my ties or all my power rides with PBC, Fox, and Showtime. That's what he knew, and he knew I can't fuck with the zone. That's the competitor over there. I'm not gonna bring my fighter, my heavyweight champion over there. I'll be out of a job. Fuck his little step aside money. Al Heyman got some kickback in other, with and all that shit. Okay? So let's just make that make sense. Let's just get that out there. Wilder didn't want that fucking fight. He didn't want that fight, or his people didn't want that fight, and it was some political shit with PBC Fox. Why do you think Errol Spence is so political? I'm not fighting on ESPN. What difference does it make if you're getting paid? Why are these guys worried about promotional company, or should I say fucking networks? This ain't even a promotional, this is a network thing. Right? This is bigger than that. Your invitation to sin. I mean that, but look, I'm trying to be real. Like, Errol Spence talks like that. And you know what's so funny about Errol Spence though? The funniest shit I ever hear. You always hear him, I'm Jamaican. I'm Jamaican. I'm from New York. I was born in New York. Dude, you don't sound like you're from fucking New York. You know what I mean? New Yorkers talk like this. This is Brooklyn. This motherfucker talks like, dude, he like imagine Errol Spence going to New York. I'm New York City. Yeah, I'm born here. I was born up in Bed-Stuy, Long Island. That's what it. People are gonna okay. You fucking wasn't raised here. I know that much. Yeah, he had the belt going into that fight, but so did Deontay Wilder. He had the WBC belt. It was a unification. Crackhead money equivalent to the pack of peanuts and a jar of honey. And then Wilder was like, dude, now let's take Eddie Hearn out of it. Let's take Eddie Hearn out of it. Let's take Joshua out of it. Okay? Take Eddie Hearn and Joshua out of it. Let's say that Al Heyman gave him that 12.5. Let's say they gave him that 12.5. Crazy D3 counterpunch to you. Wilder beg Eddie and AJ for a payday after Fury rubber man. No, I think he'll retire after that. I think his ego. See, one thing about having a big ego, or if you're real arrogant, or you're just egotistical. You know what I mean? Most people like that. They have some of the lowest self esteem. I think his self esteem would be crushed because he put his ego so far in the sky. Then when it gets popped, he's gonna fall from grace. I don't see him fighting after that. So no, he won't early stoppage. He won't. I think he will stop early stoppage. You know what I mean? But no, let's take Eddie Hearn. Let's take Anthony Joshua completely on the table, and let's look at Deontay Wilder. And let's say that fight wasn't even in the play, and Tyson Fury did come back. So it was just Tyson. It was just Deontay Wilder, and they offered him $5 million to fight Tyson Fury. Do you think that would be worth him fighting? Okay. Do you think that would have been suitable for that fight? Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, $5 million to fight. You think that would be something? I'm just asking you. What do you guys think about that? What do you think? $5 million to fight Tyson Fury. I mean, that the early stoppage. I mean, that's pretty much it. But I'm just asking a question. If you take Anthony Joshua off the table, You take him off the table. You take him away from the equation altogether. Eddie Hearn, okay, he goes by default. Well, then you have Tyson Fury. Then you have Deontay Wilder. You have the lineal champion, the guy that never lost his belts in the ring, versus the current WBC heavyweight champion. Now the question is, you know, uh, yeah, Wilder gets 5 million in the 50-50 split. Okay, so 5 million, so 5 and 5, right? Scants rants. That's right? 5 and 5. Now, it did 325,000 buys or some shit like that. We really don't know, but I mean that's reported, right? 375,000. Hold on. How many pay per view buys was Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury? One.
According to multi-channel news, Showtime
325,000.
distributed Fury Wilder 1, which generated a reported 325,000 PPV buys.
Okay, and it could generate 2 million. Okay. Well, 325,000 pay per view buys. I mean, that wasn't piss poor, but it wasn't great. Okay, but then this is the question you ask yourself: how much money did they get? Okay, Google, what was Deontay Wilder's fight purse on the first Tyson Fury fight?
Here's a summary from I found this on the web. According to the California State Athletic Commission, Wilder had a guaranteed base of $4 million.
Okay, he had $4 million. All right, so $4 million. He had a guarantee, which Tyson Fury had $3 million, so that's $7 million. Okay, well, why would see? And here's the thing: his guarantee was based on what he was worth, based on what his promotions or what his handlers decided to pay him, right? So now you have to remember something. That $4 million is that with that's the fight purse. They have to take a certain percentage of that, right? 4 million funky dollars. But then five, so how much money you think Wilder ended up with after the pay per view was, you know, I mean, hey, that might be the next topic. How heavy is Wilder's costume? Because that's $7 million combined, so you still got a $3 million profit or upswing from two fighters if both of them got 5 million apiece. 2.5. Well, that's still 2.5, so that's $5.5 million that he had. Plus, he had to break bread with all these fucking people: Shelly Finkel, Al Heyman, Jay Diaz, somebody else. I'm pretty sure at the time he was with Luda Bella, right? So, you know what I mean. He didn't get that amount of money. So, if $5 million was enough for Deontay Wilder to fight Tyson Fury, why wouldn't 12.5 enough for him to take to fight Anthony Joshua? At that time. See, that fight could have happened. And it's not like those guys didn't do that. If it would be suspect if Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn offered other fighters a different amount. Now I know the percentage split went to Joseph Parker, but that wasn't even equivalent to 12.5. It was like 8 million. But then Charles Martin, fair enough, got about 8 million. Okay, to fight Joshua in the UK, and this is in the UK, mind you. So it is what it is. Lisa T counterpunched to you. While Klitschko and Parker get a percentage split, Martin get 3.4 times his highest payday, but Wilder gets offered a flat fee because the flat fee was 3 or 4 times his payday. I don't know, 34.4 times his payday. He got offered 5 times more than he was worth. So his fight purse was 2.5, 2.5, 5, 7.5, right? 10. It's like 4 times what he was worth. And that was his biggest amount. Now, that ain't based off of what he normally makes, because what he normally makes is 800,000, 900,000. Let's look at Deontay Wilder's fight purses. Deontay Wilder's fight purses.
According to Wikipedia, for the fight, Wilder made $1.4 million and Duhaupas earned a $140,000 purse. The fight was the main event of Premier Boxing Champions on NBC and averaged.
Okay, so let's see. And that was 1.4. So let's see what. How much money did Deontay Wilder make in the Bermain-Stavern fight?
Here's a summary from Sporting News. Wilder will make at least $3 million, while Ortiz's payout begins at $1.5 million per Yahoo's Kevin Eole. Wilder will end up with closer to $20 million and Ortiz $7 million.
That was the rematch. Now, the other question is, Ortiz. Does Ortiz sound like a person that just made $7 million? Do you guys remember how fucking Andy Ruiz partied when he made $7 million? Why ain't Luis Ortiz doing that same type of thing? He's asking for fights like he didn't get what he's supposed to got. If I run across Ortiz, I will ask him, Ortiz, tú tienes 7 millones, ¿verdad? Dime la verdad, por favor. I said it. But Fury's gloves were loaded. Oh God, here we go. Loaded gloves, huh? Calling this man an Antonio Margarito with no proof. Now, you know what's sad though, Dizzy King on real talk. You have people like Antonio Margarito that actually did that shit. You know, and he probably permanently damaged Miguel Cotto, because Miguel Cotto's first loss, I know, and it's like almost like that thing. Like, you can't prove that he was. Well, you kind of can, because if you looked at that glove looked fucking suspect. The shit was all. He had the glove off, and then the shit was cracked like it was a cast. You know, they should have they should have looked at that a little bit more. Because he didn't get no 7 million. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and then the suspect thing about that was, at least, see, Wilder will make at least 3 million. I'm like, and then the fight purse, and then the pay-per-view sales were fucking shitty. They didn't do what they supposed to done. You know what I mean? Ortiz made 1.5. Okay, so that's pretty much what he got, 1.5, and Wilder made 3. But if you notice, he made $3 million. What was his guarantee in the Fury fight? Now, this was some funny shit about Wilder. They said, oh, he's a guarantee. They were guaranteed $5 million. Remember that? And then they get an additional $25 million. That shit just sounds shady to me. Like, why is that the other way around? Like, get what I'm saying? Like, you don't say, hey, we're going to give you $25 million. Then we're going to give you an additional $5 million. That makes more sense. Because it's almost like, hey, man, we're going to give you a guaranteed $5 million, but then we're going to give you an additional $25 million. Like, no, the $25 million is something that would want to stick in your head before the $5 million. So why are you giving me an additional $25 million? It doesn't even make sense. You see where I'm going with that? That looks like some, you know, that doesn't look right. It sure the fuck don't sound right at all. You know? Zorro's 2-time. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Antonio Matthews. AJ said that if the fight is worth $100 million, give me $50 million and I'll sign tomorrow. PBC offered AJ $50 million, so it's assumed that the fight was worth $100 million. Well, I think that $50 million, it was like it's almost like a person didn't want to give you something or wanted you to bite the bait, so to speak, because you get 24 hours. Why would you want to? Like 24 hours. Like, yeah, you're gonna get 24 hours. We ain't gonna give you shit. We ain't gonna. You just. This is crazy. And I don't even want to talk about that $50 million because you have to have a contract. Where the fuck is this contract was at? Where is it? Where was it? You know, the terms. And for the record, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be done with that shit. AJ never turned down the $50 million. Believe it or not, he never turned it down. He just questioned was the shit legit because when Eddie Hearn wanted more detail, they wouldn't give it to him. That's real talk. That's shit I can tell you. Anthony Joshua did not turn down $50 million. When they asked him for the details, when the Eddie Hearn was like, sure, okay, we're interested. Send us the details. No, you got to say yes first. What? We can't talk about the details. You can't send me the shit over. No, you got 24 hours. Come on, man. That like who does that? That's like some children shit. That's like some, it sounds real sketchy, real shady, and that's what it was. You know what I mean? Okay, let's look at it this way. Do you think that the zone meeting was some shit like that? Imagine John Skipper said, hey, we're going to offer Deontay Wilder $100 million. Oh, for real? Let's sit down and talk about it. You ain't going to sit down and talk about the shit until you say yes. like what the fuck? Okay, what's the terms? You got to say yes first. You got to say yes. And but media gets you in trouble because you can't unsay something, right? Especially like Shelly Finkel said, we agreed to terms. A week and a half later, no, we never agreed to terms. Remember that 15 million? Because they were constantly negotiating. But anyway, I'm done with that. Okay. Kurt, Jacob's purse was reported the same way when he fought Canelo. Nobody questioned it. How? You talking about that 10? Was it $10 million or something like that? No one is making big bucks post COVID-19. That shit's fucking ripping everybody's guts out. No, they didn't. PBC made no offer. It was a Wilder Instagram upload. I can't believe people still talk. I mean, really, who made the offer was Wilder. Wilder made that offer. Wilder made an offer to Eddie Hearn. He sent him an email. You know, like, what the hell? Was he a promoter in training or some shit? Yeah, Deontay, go ahead and send him. You can do our job, but you still gotta pay us. The fuck out of here with that shit, man. You know, Frank Sanchez versus AJ. That'd be a good fight. Because, Frank Sanchez, he's been training by the Reynosos. He's fast, he's quick, he's becoming more aggressive, a better counterpuncher because of the Reynosos. So I like that fight. Old Cuban Flash versus AJ. Let's roll. We're very interested in the offer. Yeah, and those were the responses from AJ and Eddie Hearn. If it was some shit like, no, I don't think we're ready at this time. No. You know what I'm saying? Like that, let's roll, not, let's talk about it, or we'll see, or, that sounds like some bullshit to me, But anyway. I just think if you really want to make a fight, and that's like, and you had $50 million to bargain with, according to who, according to where, and then they lied about where the shit, who the money belonged to, where was it coming from? They lied about that. Steven Espinosa lied about that. Shelly Finkel lied about that. They lied, and who told the truth? Fucking Lou DiBella. Right? Frank Warren said that shit's coming from us. They needed a British promoter to deal with a British fighter. AJ's a British fighter. He would be dealing with us. So Frank Warren was going to get together with Shelly Finkel, and they were going to buy the rights for that fight, according to Lou DiBella. He said they were. I mean, different scenario, but no, this is the same thing. Okay, this is the $50 million that you're talking about. That fucking $50 million was shady as shit. You got to give me that much. That was some shady shit, man. You got to give me that much. Like that shit was not 100% concrete. They lying about where the money from. If you got $50 million, no, it's coming from Frank Warren with BT Sports. Okay, we're gonna cover some of it. Frank Ward's gonna cover the rest. We're gonna buy out Sky Sports. Then Joshua's gonna fight on Showtime or PBC Fox because he offered and because he wanted $50 million, like he said. Therefore, he agrees to that. Therefore, we're gonna buy the rights. Therefore, we will have the fight. I could give a fuck if he did or not. But just knowing, okay, well, this guy was with Sky, well, he would get sued. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like this. Let's take for example. Let's look at it this way. If Tyson Fury decides to fight Anthony Joshua, what would have to happen? Al Heyman would sue him. Deontay Wilder would fucking have a stroke or aneurysm. You know what I mean? But some legal action would have to take place. The same shit would have been with the $50 million. See, the thing is, it's like it was just, I think they had it, but I think they tried to hide where it was coming from because they didn't want to. Here's the thing, they didn't want to be responsible for the outcome because if Anthony Joshua would have took that 50s, but they would have said yes or whatever. Yeah, we're gonna be all aboard, which I never heard them say no. But like it's kind of hard not to think because they're smarter than that. So they're like, well, he's with Sky Sports. Sky Sports is going to sue him, but they don't give a shit. It doesn't matter because he wanted $50 million. We want this fight. I don't give a fuck what Sky Sports does to Anthony Joshua. They could have took that route. But Luda Bella did so much. Maybe I think it's more than the DAZN shit. Talking about Luda Bella, I think they were mad at Luda Bella for like cracking that shit open and telling people something that we didn't know. We didn't know anything about Frank Warren. Where the fuck Frank Warren comes from? Let's look at it. Where did Frank Warren come from? It wasn't shady. It wasn't shady. Okay. If you have $50 million to fight a fighter, why would you put a 24-hour deadline on it? For one. For two, why would Steven Espinosa say that Frank Warren was not involved when he was? Okay, that's shady already. Like, why would you hide where the money's coming from? Are you talking about the exactly? Joshua Littlejohn already did a video about it, covering it. I'm gonna stop talking about it. Fuck it. Because it's like it don't matter anyway because no contract was ever sent over for $50 million. Deontay Wilder is not the WBC champion right now, so it is what it is. Luis Ortiz, however, back to him. If he's 45, somebody whoop his ass. I'm with Deontay Wilder on that. Somebody beat his ass, please. You know what I mean? Somebody fight the fucking guy. Give him a shot. You guys talk about his age. Is it that old man thing? Like, dude, I don't want to fight him. He's old because it's a lose-lose. If I beat him, he was old. But if he beats me, fuck, he was old and he beat my ass. Maybe it's a lose-lose. Maybe people look at it like that. I see old guys. You ever see them grumpy old men that talk shit at you? You're like, man, I beat your old ass. But then you got to think about it. What if this dude is really, you hurt the dude, you feel like shit. But if the dude hurts you, then you really should feel like shit. Embarrassed. Sky Sports would never be bought out by a new kid on the block rival BT Sports. It's I don't know, man. I don't know. That shit's kind of a dead horse. We beating that motherfucker. it ain't doing none of that shit. It's just laying there on the ground. Because AJ's with Sky Sports and got sued for going under the contract. How much is $50 million really worth? $10 million or less. Well, that's true. Well, shit. Yeah, we know that, but that's just like how is a Tyson Fury fight and an AJ fight really worth him being sued by Wilder? Then Wilder actually wins because then they will sue. They'll give his ass a little smidgen of the money of the precedes, but because he was on a contractual agreement. A judge will look at that shit, and it'll probably that court won't be over. It will be over very quick. You know, money is money as long as it's legit. Yeah, that's true. AJ said he didn't want to take the $50 million because he didn't want to fight in America, and it's all on Google. Well, he said the devil's in the details. And that was a discussion too. Like they wanted him to fight in the UK because he always fights in the UK. He made the come up in the UK. You know, I could care less because remember something. When Anthony Joshua came to the US, what happened? He got beat. He got beat. I feel Anthony Joshua should come back over here to redeem himself. You know? AJ makes more guaranteed money through his deal. Well, AJ makes more money anyway. We deserve the undisputed British fight to compensate for these tough times of COVID. We need to see it anyway. Candy Crush. Be preaching. Counterpunch. All caps. This is getting intense. Wilder is just another Charles Martin. Ooh. Wow. I wouldn't say that though. But I think Charles Martin had better opportunities because Charles Martin ego wasn't like Deontay. But if you factor up two Ortiz fights, Dominic Brazil, two Fury fights, that's his claim to fame. A draw, a loss, and three wins. Three wins all coming by KO, right? So Charles Martin ain't did anything like that. What I mean, he didn't even win. I mean, he won by default. The guy was injured. Then he goes over there, gets knocked out by AJ. Then he goes, he gets on crack for a while or whatever the hell he was doing. No, he's smoking weed. This weed, bitch. I smoke weed, bitch. I'm gonna fuck y'all up. I'm gonna fuck y'all up. I'm gonna fuck y'all. I'm like, dude, what the hell? You know? But no, Darren, I wouldn't call him another Charles Martin. I couldn't do that. Even though Charles Martin, I mean, he put his belt on the line, you know. At least he did that. Ortiz can fight Kalnaka. That would be good. If Kalnaka can beat him, that would be his his testament to how bad does he want it. But see again, Al Heyman had him dodging motherfuckers. You know? If it was a lose-lose, then White wouldn't have been fighting Povetkin. Counterpunch. That's true. Hey, you can't argue with that. Povetkin is 40 years old. He'll be 41 in September the 2nd. Luis Ortiz, same age. We can't prove his ass is 45, you know? But ask yourself this question. Who you think wins out of Ortiz and Povetkin? And I would put my money on Ortiz, honestly. I think he would cook Povetkin. Because if somebody like Michael Hunter can hurt Povetkin at this point of his career, Ortiz could knock him out. I do believe that. I would have my money on Ortiz. You know, isn't a global star. He isn't. He watched this. The global star. He's washed. Only reason White's fighting him. I don't know why. White should have fought. But to be fair though, White did want Ruiz. So you can't get too pissed off at White. But I do question. I'm like, dude, why do you always leave Ortiz out to be an option? Because that wasn't even the option of the guys that he wanted to fight. If you can remember, he had Povetkin, he had Povetkin. I think Dominic Brazil, I think, was one of them, and Andy Ruiz. Somebody else though. But I'm just like, okay, what about Ortiz? You're not gonna fight Ortiz? You know. He does have to split that with his handlers. That is true. But understand this, D. Stewart. He has to split everything with his handlers. That's why the money you see him, the fight person. I mean, fair play. AJ does the same thing, but I don't think it's going to that many fucking people. You know? I agree, Kurt, on AJ coming back to the U.S. Preach. I mean, yeah, he does. He has to redeem himself over here. He did that at Madison Square Garden. He has to come back to Madison Square Garden. That's just only symbolic. It's only right. But fair play to Joshua. Joshua did want to come back. The first thing he said, no, we can do it right back in New York. He said that. It was Eddie Hearn. No, I'm like, no, we got to do it somewhere else. You know what I mean? So that shows you where the confidence lies. You know what I mean? Wilder is Michael Grant 2.0. Ooh, not Michael Grant. I'm strong. Easy though. It's funny because after Lennox Lewis knocked out Michael Grant in 2 rounds, if you guys seen that fight, watch it. Don't take long. Don't blink. But when he knocked him out, Michael Grant was in his corner. I'm strong. I'm strong. Yeah, I know you're strong, man. I'm strong. What did Wilder say? I am strong. That's like the comeback slogan, the response for a defeated fighter. I'm strong. Like Van Damme. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. Okay. Yeah, Michael Grant. I do think of Michael Grant when I think of Deontay, especially if he loses to Fury. But I had a change of heart on that, and let me tell you why. Okay, let's look up Michael Grant for a while. Michael Grant. Uh, Wait a minute. Not the Arthur. There we go. Okay. Mr. Kingdom Hall himself, he's 47 years old right now. So, but if you look at his career, all right, let's look at his boxing record. When he got beat by Lennox Lewis, okay, he lost to Jermil Big Time McCline, which I like Jermil McCline. He lost to him, so he took 2 back-to-back losses. Now, see, here's the thing. The reason I don't call Michael Grant Deontay Wilder or Deontay, I think about him, but you can't. Why? Because he won Ronaldo Minas, Joe Linhart, Anthony Willis, Robert Davis, James Walton, Carlton Johnson, Gilbert Martinez. He lost again to Dominique Gunn, okay? But then he won Charles Hatcher, Wallace McDaniel, Marcus McGee, Billy Zumbrun, Kelly Monte, Demetrius King, Paul Marinaccio, uh, Kevin Barnett. He lost to Tomas Adamic, right? He won to Ty Fields, Francois Botha. He lost to Carlos Takam, Manuel Char, and Zimok. And that was his time to go. And his last fight was in 2017. So, and that was at his 55th fight. Okay. So you can't really say that he was definitely like Wilder, because I used to think Michael Grant. But one thing you do look, which is consistent in this, every time he stepped back up, he got beat. Because all these fighters that I named, these guys, you don't know who they are. You can't even click on their name. This is Wikipedia. If you're not a known fighter, you're just a name. You know what I mean? He beat Luis Alvarez. He beat Andrew Galata, Obed Sullivan, David Izon. Okay, so he beat a lot of these guys that you know were mid level guys, right? But yeah, I can't say that anymore. Let's get to 100 likes in 10 minutes, guys. Let's go. Hit the like button for me. Shout out to Charles Martin for being a fair and honest man. That's it. Why was he fair and honest? Because he took what was presented to him. $8 million. Dude, I would fight Anthony Joshua for $8 million fucking dollars. You think I'm bullshitting? 8 million? Dude, $8 million, I'll fight that motherfucker and his daddy. I fight him one day and I fight his dad the next day. Give me 4 million per fight. Let's cut it up. You know. Okay, Joel Romero said Ortiz was 45 a couple years ago. I don't know. I never heard him say that, but Martin Toad sold his belt. He got put up off the canvas. He got up off the canvas and let AJ hit him in the exact same spot with the same punch again. Yeah, that was pretty insane, wasn't it, Brittany? It's crazy. Povetkin for me, Kurt. Easy work. I don't know. Povetkin, you look, look, I give it to Povetkin the first four. He's dangerous in 4 rounds. After 4 rounds, five, six, seven, he starts showing his age. Whereas Ortiz, he kind of sits back, waits for you to react so he can counter. That's what Ortiz does. So Ortiz is not going to basically do anything until you do, unless he comes in with a jab. He might jab to a straight left to the body like he was doing Wilder. That's a pretty good weapon he has. The way he cooked Christian Hammer. Yeah. Yeah, that was a shitty fight. He looked super shitty. But fair play. He looked like what's his face? Dillian White against Marius Wack. They both look shitty. You know. So I was really looking at Ortiz cross-eyed after that, Well, Antonio Matthews, I mean, that would be a good fight. That's more the reason I would rather see those two guys fight. You know what I mean? I'm tired of seeing an older fighter versus a younger fighter. You know what I mean? Let's just even that shit out. Let's even it out. Right? Or an old younger guy versus like Ortiz, dude, he's 45, he's 100. Fight this guy. Fight him. Somebody fight him. D. Stewart, I heard he did do that. Ortiz turned down. And I think what it is, Ortiz needs to start taking control of his social media. I think a lot of people that have control of his shit, he doesn't see it because I don't think he follows it. Maybe spending time with his kids. But I think he needs to be at least an admin on his own shit to see what's posted, what's going on with other fighters, like what are they doing, what are they saying? Because a lot of times someone will call him out, he don't say nothing until like a week later. Like, what the fuck you been? You know what I mean? Ortiz is such a monster that Christian Hammer almost killed him. Christian Hammer got, he had some pretty good moments in that fight. I believe that too. Ortiz is more preserved than Povetkin. Povetkin, I'm telling you, he 4 or 5 rounds tops. He's tired. Grant was a hype job. Yeah, well, he stepped up, and then White and Lennox Lewis showed him what was up. I mean, he really did. Let's just be real. Yeah, Char beat him. Yeah, it was fucked up. Manuel Char, Carlos Takam, those guys beat him. So went life and death with Hammer. Yeah, he went life and death with Hammer. Ortiz was in World War II. You know what? I had that up in the thumbnail. I was like, let me take that shit down. Ortiz was one of the 12 disciples. Ortiz controlled Hammer. It was uneventful. Ortiz has high blood pressure. That's a sign of an old body. Not really, though. Not necessarily. I think, you know, understand something. Ortiz is from African descent. He's Cuban, but he's Afro-Cuban. So by way of African descent, that you're more prone to have hypertension if you are from African descent. That's a lot of times, that's a known problem in the African communities. I didn't specify what nation. Okay, that's a difference. His ethnicity. He's a black man. Okay, so black people tend to have those type of problems. You know, call it a stereotype, call it what it is. It's a fact. A high percentage of African descent men or men from African descent, black men, have this type of problem, and women. So, my mother was on hypertension when she was 22 years old. So, yeah, I mean, that's not really a sign because a lot of people, exactly, Scance rants. Young people have high blood pressure as well. I read that you can add at least 5 years onto Ortiz because of the Cuban Olympic situation. I mean, you could. I mean, it just depends on how old he was because it's from 2002 to 2008. It's a very long time ago. But it like let's say he was 32 when he really came here. There's no fucking way if he came here in '08. Hold on, let me see. When did Luis Ortiz defect from Cuba?
I found this on the web.
He first tried to defect in 2007 along with teammate Guillermo Rigondeaux while at a tournament in Brazil. Yep, him and Erislandy Lara, they got caught. Yeah. Lara Ortiz, all these motherfuckers, they got popped. I don't know who caught them, but it is what it is. Oh man, shout out to Travis Kaufman. He's the fighter that got beat by Ortiz, but he tested positive for the coronavirus. So you know what I mean. Say a prayer for that brother because that shit's real. You know. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Well, that's weird. He's speaking about an emotional effect can have on him and his family. It's also dangerous because it's not like just jumping on an airplane and getting somewhere. The 39-year-old Laura said, wait a minute, I thought Laura was 35. While seated in the same table as the interpreter, he said, you actually got to go through the ocean, which is dangerous. I've known. Well, maybe wait, and Laura didn't. That if you even get that far. So it had to be '08. So he left in '08. You know? Ortiz was Fidel Castro's babysitter. Dude, Fidel Castro was 90 fucking years old when he died. Like, I can't make that up. AJ Leahy, Ortiz is 60. Shit, for 8 million, I might even beat both AJ and his daddy on the same night. Shit, I'd fight him. I would fight him on the same night. Why not? You know, I'm not a slouch. I can fight. You know what I mean? I'm not a professional, but shit, I'll fight them motherfuckers. You know what I mean? $8 million, sign me up. What, to get in shape, right? So you're gonna pay me, okay, $8 million to get in shape and to take on the heavyweight champion of the world. Fuck yeah, I would love to do that. You know what I mean? Just pick me up right now. I'm gonna get in shape. You know, the old man could get high blood pressure off the Viagra. Viagra gives you high blood pressure. Yeah, I didn't know that. Ortiz looked like he shat his pants after Wilder nailed him with the right. Yeah, he woke up like he was 32 then in '08. Yeah, well, if he's 32 then, he's 45 now because that's 12 years ago. Fuck that. 32, 42, 44. So, yeah, for about 44, 45. Pulev versus Ortiz is a good match. AJ should be fighting Fury or Wilder, nobody else. They think Ortiz should sign with Matchroom and get the big payday before the retirement. His manager's LDB. Well, Felix, to be fair, he was already with Eddie Hearn for a while. He fought Malik Scott. I think he beat which guy was that? He beat he what's David Scott? No. Telling you that Dillian White will be the next undisputed champ. He's the best heavyweight in the world right now. Okay, Sugar Shane. All right. It was from a black-owned company. I respect that, but still funny to watch. No money, just give me weed. Hell yeah, man. Man. Hell no, you gonna get paid. Shit, if I'm gonna get paid, you gonna get paid, Jim. Damn that. Fuck the weed. You can get them. I can give you money to buy weed. You know what I mean? You know. Ortiz versus Rivas. That would be a good one though. Antonio Matthews, kind of punch to you. That would be a very good fight. But I think the size difference would be a problem for Ruiz because I think Ruiz has problems with bigger heavyweights. Look at Dillian White. You know, I think I would. Scance rants. I think it would last longer than fucking whatchamacallit. Because I'll do more. You know what I mean? I study fighters, and I know that Joshua, he's a big dude. You know, you have to know how to move. I don't know how entertaining shit'll be, but I would try my best. I wouldn't do any shit like boom, oh, you know what I mean? You know how those fighters get hit, they get hit illegally, and the trainer's like, go down, oh, amplify the shit, over exaggerate the shit. Ortiz versus Kaunaki, Dave Allen. That's it. So he beat Dave Allen, he beat Malik Scott, and that was when he was with Matchroom. Okay, so, you know, and according to Hearn, I don't think Hearn particularly likes or cares for Ortiz. You know, Ortiz might be the oldest man to ever live. That people are still fucking hesitant to fight. That's the thing that trips me out. Ortiz is 50. He said he watched Ali versus Foreman when he was 4 years old. Work it out, Kurt. Wow. The doctor gave Wilder the 20 extra seconds in the eighth round. Yeah, they did. They did. That's true. And he was gassed in the eighth round. Yeah, he was out. He tried to give it his all, and his all wasn't good enough. Do you think? Do you think you would do Wilder in 8 rounds? I don't know. Wilder's different though. That Wilder's a different type of fighter. It's weird. I would want to fight AJ, but I wouldn't really care to fight Wilder. You know what I mean? Because Wilder's one of those dudes is like, dude, you probably suck as a boxer, and I probably, box and use head movement. But you don't have to do that necessarily because you got to worry about the right hand. I don't know. He'll probably still get you and then do all that silly windmill shit. That would suck. You know what I mean? you know? Lucas Brown is in shape, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the next undisputed champion, no doubt. Lucas Brown, right, sure. Okay, tell me anything now. Wear a football helmet. Wouldn't be surprised if War Chisora beats Usyk. Hey, man, we don't know what Usyk can do. And most importantly, we don't know what he'll do in certain situations. You know what I mean? Like Ika Barabucci knew he could not box with Chris Bird. He knocked Chris Bird out. You got to fight boxers, not box boxers. It's a stupid thing to do. It's a bad game plan. Wilder is unorthodox. You'd have a better chance with AJ. Exactly. See, that motherfucker might throw something. Boom! Oh! You know what I mean? And then you fucking end up getting $100,000. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like who did he fight? Did he fight Dunapas? Dunapas got what, 140,000 or some shit like that? I don't want that. I want the big money. I want the big bucks. I want to be like Keith Thurman and them. I want to get, and you know, I want to shoot for the stars. You know what I mean? I don't want the dude that gets lowballed from his own people. No, I want the dude that gets the money. I want to fight that guy. I wouldn't mind fighting Joshua. I'd like to fight Joshua. That would be good. You know what I mean? I think stylistically it would be a better fight. You know what I mean? So please, somebody fight Ortiz for Kurt. I know, right? Somebody fight this fucking guy. Usyk looked poor versus Witherspoon. You know what? I'm gonna watch that tonight. You know, make the Ruiz versus Wilder fight on free TV in Florida and just attribute to Trump for having the fight happen because he reopened the economy. Well, it is election time, ain't it? Damn. Fuck. Mm. People call non-boxing skill unorthodox. Well, you just don't want to get hit with them right hands. I don't want to get hit with them fucking right hands. You gonna fuck me up? Give me an SSI check for the rest of my life? Fucking with Wilder? No, no, I'm good. See, he be aiming for me. I'm gonna whoop his ass. He been talking shit about me for 2 years. Everybody knows it. I'm gonna knock his ass out. I speak it, believe it, receive it. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. You might be the body on the ring. To this day. To this day. Knock you out and say that same shit. You know? Like Arthur McConaughey Jr. Do what he did. Do what he did to Stavern. You remember he hit Stavern? He hit him like I think he hit him with a straight right, a left. Then he come up with an uppercut or some shit like that. And then that's when Arthur McCanny grabbed him, and he still kept, oh, get off of me. He gonna do that shit to me. You know what I mean? Just oh, get off of me. Dude, he's stopping you. It's over. You know. Do you think Roy Jones before the Ruiz fight would have beat Tarver? He would have if he didn't go move up in weight and add all that weight to him. He would have beat Tarver because people you forget he already beat Tarver. People forget that. People just remember him getting knocked out by Tarver, but you don't remember the fight that he fought Tarver. It was a good fight, but he beat Tarver. Okay, I'd rather fight Wilder than Joshua. Just step back when he throws the right hand and then jump on him. Well, that's what Tyson Fury did. Well, it's not that simple because a guy that long and rangy, you might be in his range, and you might not even see that punch coming. Bow! Ooh! You know what I mean? You might be on the ground with that shit. No, I'm good. No, you ain't gonna. No, I don't want to be like Rocky. That's good. $18,000. $140,000. No, I'm good. Ortiz, he says he's 40. Well, 41 now. So, But you notice he does have smaller kids, though. So I think he didn't start having his children until he came over here, to be fair. So. No, I don't want to get hit by that uppercut either. But I don't think, well, he could catch you in a clinch. Because if he clinched up and he could, come up like this, you know what I mean? But if he's doing that, I'm going to be sure to, you know. Could watch you all day. I'm a big fan from Nigeria. Sani, thank you, brother. Counterpunch to you. Yeah, Joshua has the money, man. If I'm going to get knocked out, because I'm going to try to fight that motherfucker, because you don't know. I might be another Andy Ruiz. Oh my God, now I gotta fucking keep doing this shit. But I won. Might get you all hyped up and shit. The next motherfucker go in the ring. But then you gotta fight Joshua again. You know what I mean? You know what though? One thing about Ortiz is, I think another thing that throws people off is the way he's built. AJ had 85 million reasons not to fight in MSG. Well, that's true, but He didn't know he was getting that 85 million until later on, until that meal, you know. But no, I think he's just built a certain way too. The way he's built, that I think that gives him that older demeanor. He might just be built like that because I'm looking at his earlier fights. He looks like he's a solid husky guy in certain areas. You know what I mean? Like his chest and shit. He's kind of like it's small here, like he's older. But then you know what I mean. He has like a big back and shit. Yeah, he's built weird. Exactly, Loke. He ain't built like because So that I think that's a lot of the reasons people be like, dude, this dude built like an old ass uncle. And when he was fighting Wilder, it did look like he was like this uncle, this older dude, just trying, handling a younger dude, going head up with this younger dude. It does not look that way to me. But understand, Pacquiao is Asian. Asians keep wrinkles on the inside. They age different. Ortiz is 53. Ruiz fights like nobody else. He kind of, yeah. I mean, Canelo has a similar style to him. Fury versus AJ will happen in Saudi Arabia because of the money. Well, that could happen. Why not? If they're making that type of money, 300 million, $300 million, 150 million a piece. You can't beat that one night. Are you, man? Who cares who wins? They're all paid. You know. Saudi will probably throw. What he's fighting next? What the fuck does he want? I don't know. I don't know what Wilder. It looked like Wilder wants another fight because I don't think he got that $7 million damn dollars. I can tell you that much. And and regardless, me wrapping this up, I think that uh, Luis Ortiz. I think that he may be older. I know he's built a certain way that might throw things off, but nonetheless, somebody needs to get in there and fight him. He needs to get in there, and they need to put him in there with somebody worth the shit before he really starts looking like shit. Because I mean, even the Christian Hammer fight kind of was like, ugh, he don't look right in that fight. But all bullshit aside, I do feel that he does need to fight some named opponents to show where he's at. Hellenius, that would be a trip though, right? Hellenius would probably knock him out with that style because Hellenius is so damn tall. You know, that would be pretty good, Rick. I would like to see him in Klitschko. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for coming on. Miller Ortiz is a good fight. That is a good fight. I want to see that. Fight should happen sooner than later. But I thank everybody on the chat. Thank you guys for dropping in, listening to me. Thank you for the likes or whatnot. Everybody, I'm going to get something to eat, finish my workout. Everybody on the chat, I mean everyone, you guys been counterpunched. Peace.